Welcome. OmenG's Stupid Scary Stories. Number 24. The Skeeta War. The final part. Part 5. It's the final advance, folks. The final advance came at the worst time of the whole season. A week long. 4 days, but it felt like a week. It was so hot. Terrible. Heat wave with humidity unlike any I had ever dealt with. I mean, it was bad. Instant sweat. I guess the only place that's probably used to this type of humidity that we were dealing with at this time is Florida. And I've never been to Florida. Not a day in my life. I haven't had the opportunity of Florida weather. So I'm not used to this feeling like you just got out of the shower feeling when you didn't just get out of the shower. Soaking wet, pouring from my head, face. I was sweating from places I didn't even know you could sweat from. Lips, sweating, nose, fingers even. Just sweat everywhere, pouring. that's not even the biggest problem that we were dealing with. Remember, we were fighting mosquitoes. Bald-faced hornets, ants, honeybees turned against us. Accidentally killed some frogs in the weeks leading up to this point. Amphibians were mad. Spiders had openly declared war on us as well, leading to the unnecessary casualties that we were suffering. But despite all this, we were making good gains. We were pushing them back. But we were having trouble behind our lines. You know, the coastline, we were pretty much, we had secured a significant amount of very important territory for them and denied them these areas, therefore cutting off their supply lines. But we had no idea that we were going to get hit with this heat wave and this humidity, and that pools of water were going to form where water hadn't once been, which was giving them an opportunity to resupply their lines. So let me begin. Plans were drawn up. A major offensive was put into the works. We had decided that we would hit them with everything we had. Not that we weren't already doing that, but we decided to up the ante. Use weapons of mass insect destruction. Meaning, no longer were we going to discriminate from one creepy crawly to another. I mean, which other ones would change their alignment from neutrality to hostility? We had no idea. So we decided to go with a blanket technique. All things that crawled on more than 2 legs, minus animals, were now the enemy. Spiders, ants, flies, mosquitoes, except for bees. Fucking traitors. Couldn't do anything about them. Need y'all, bastards. And you knew this. Chokehold. Motherfuckers. Sons of bitches. But everything else was fair game. And not butterflies. Not the butterflies. You know, they're harmless. They don't do anything, you know. They're good for the environment. Very good for the environment. In fact, they were our scouts. You know, they'd flutter around like butterflies do. And they would warn us of potential hotspots. And mosquitoes can't do shit to butterflies. Now, wasps, hornets can and did when they found out about what the butterflies were doing for us, which caused the war between the butterflies and the hornets and wasps. Which was very lopsided because, the butterflies had no way of defending themselves aggressively. They could only just move away and migrate. Which at some point left us without our eyes in the skies. Our drones can only do so much. They had learned to hide from our drones. So they were not as effective as butterflies. And the loss of our butterfly allies was quite terrible. Now at this point, you're probably saying, well, I thought dragonflies were working with you. Nope, not anymore. See, during this humid and hot weather, and our aggressive push the months before, we had started to encroach upon their territory. Now, once again, they can't do anything to us, have no means to do anything to us, so they didn't hurt us, but they weren't helping us either. So, on certain areas, we would have problems. Now, they knew that they were scary looking to most human beings, so they'd, fly in people's faces, scare the shit out of them. Like, oh my god, it's gonna bite me. No, it's not. It's a fucking dragonfly, man. They don't attack people. But try convincing someone who's afraid of bugs that a big, ugly bug isn't gonna hurt them when it looks like it will. We lost a few people simply to cowardice. Cowardice. Fucking cowards. It's flying in my face. It's gonna bite me. No, it's not. You don't bite people. Sometimes I have to tell you this. Dumbasses. Anyway, the date was set. The equipment prepared. The chemicals filled to the brim. Ready for the offensive. We called it Operation Bloodsucker. Because that's what those fucking things are. They're bloodsuckers. And we wanted to rid ourselves of them. This was a unilateral, or multilateral, not just one, multiple areas. We're going to be struck at the same time. The scorched earth technique, meaning if we did not advance, then if we had to retreat, we just destroy everything for everything. Now, of course, there were a few animals that weren't happy about this, but the same token, we weren't destroying plant life, so they weren't necessarily angry about that. Hawks and eagles and things kind of sided with us. Some of these insects we were getting rid of were pests to certain animals they ate. So when we got rid of some of these pests, the animals proliferated. Hawks and eagles snatched them up and ate them. It was funny, kind of, to watch. But that's not the story I'm telling. I'm telling the story of Operation Bloodsucker. Right? That's what I was talking about. Okay, so let's get back to it, right? Load up, get ready. Me and my crack squad, just me and Rick and James, we were given a mission deep in the marsh, Weston. An area we had once controlled but lost. Severe losses. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. And we knew going into this that there were not very many options that we had. There was no failure, no room for error. We could not fail, because if we failed, then their numbers would grow. At the time, we saw no end to this heat wave. News reports said it was only supposed to last a day. Liars. Wish I could get a job paid that much money to make educated guesses about weather. Hello. Today, it will be hot. Why? Because it's hot now, so the chances of it being anything but hot are slim. Give me my 60 G's a year on celebrity status to tell you the fucking obvious truth. Something that you can figure out simply by taking your ass outside. Anyway, back to what I'm saying. The operation kicked off without a hitch. We made several stunning advances into the territory. Now, I was saying that we should be airlifted into, Weston. Superiors didn't agree. And we didn't have any helicopters or anything like that, so we couldn't airlift us there. We had to drive, which meant that their operatives and their spies would be able to see us coming. Not that it really mattered because we breathe, and like I told you, carbon dioxide is what attracts them most of the time to you anyway, so we're gonna have problems regardless. We knew this. We accepted a certain level of losses. We were prepared to absorb these. We were prepared. But to what end? Trust me, we weren't prepared for what happened that day. And this engagement, this operation, lasted until the end of the season. With our victory, of course. A little spoiler there. Yeah, we won. That's right, because I'm here, obviously, so I didn't die from mosquitoes. But they'll be back. They swore they would. They're replenishing their numbers over the winter months. Getting ready. Preparing. Educating themselves on the weapons we used against them this time. But that's not what I was talking about, people. I was talking about Operation Bloodsucker. And you guys keep sidetracking me here. All these other little side stories. Don't worry about those. Operation Bloodsucker. The advance. Me and my team. The two guys, Rick and James. Ready to go. I had a supply of milk. Because the ass gas worked really well the last time. So why wouldn't it work this time? Right? If only we could have manufactured the ass gas. We couldn't. Unfortunately. It's unique to me. And those who are lactose intolerant. And there weren't that many lactose intolerant people amongst our ranks. So, we didn't have the abundance of it that we needed to effect a more large-scale implement of its wonderfully advantageous effects. No, it's just us. But that's all that really needed. You know what I'm saying? We were good at what we did. We streaked in 3 trucks strong. Headed to Weston, outskirts of town. Set up a small operating base where we offloaded our equipment and supplies that we would need. And didn't want to have in the trucks just in case our trucks got mired down in marshland and bogs. Right? You know what I'm saying? So we split up. I headed north. It was a house that we had once controlled within the territory that we had lost. We had some equipment there. We figured we'd try to get it back. So I went there. What I found when I reached this location was terrifying, to say the least. This is one of the worst things I had ever seen throughout the whole entire conflict. Now, mind you, you're saying, yeah, it's shady, which it was, but it was so god-awful hot and humid. The air was so thick. You could feel it as you walked. There was no breeze. And when the wind did blow, in the off chance that, nature wanted to be graciously happy with us for a short time, it was like standing in front of a heat vent. It's just hot-ass, moist air blowing on you. Did nothing. Like I said, we lost a lot of people to heat exhaustion. I almost succumbed to the effects of the heat. I remember, I had to get out of my truck, obviously. You couldn't drive right to the house. They had blocked off certain areas. Ants, praying mantises even. They joined in. They're, not friendly insects. They have no fear of human beings or anything for that matter. If they could eat us, trust me, they fucking would. Because they try. Thank God, our skin is thick enough to not allow their clampy claws to slice into our meat. Because if they did, I'd have lost like 5 fingers. Easy. These fuckers flying in, snatch, and grab my hand. I'm like, what the? Now, see, Connecticut, unfortunately, but fortunately for them, They are a protected species of insects. You're not allowed to kill them. Knowing we ran into some issues with the government because of some of our murders. I won't even say murders. Self-defense, damn it. Even though we knew they couldn't really do anything, but still, the audacity. The audacity of them. 3-inch, 4-inch long bastards flying out of the air. Their claws ready to fucking strike. Anyway, like I was saying, they had set up these defensive perimeters around the house, so the only way to get to it was on foot, which put us in direct contact with every fucking insect. Spiders, ants, wasps, hornets, flies, gnats, mosquitoes, and the thousands of other insects that I just don't even know the names for, because I'm not an entomologist, so I don't know any of that shit. And I'm not going to look it all up, because I really don't care that much. I just want them dead. Now, at this point in the war, we were allowed the use of flamethrowers. As long as we weren't burning vegetation, not vegetation. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the fuck just happened to my mouth. But yeah, we were getting flamethrowers. Mostly for the hornets and the wasps to burn their freaking wasp nests, hornets nests out of the trees. Which did wonders for them, getting rid of them. But not so much against yellow jackets. I don't know if a lot of you aware, but yellow jackets are like ants, where they burrow underground. So they would come up from underneath and do these fly-up attacks. Remember one of the guys, one of the Italians, don't know why he was wearing shorts, but let's just say his balls weren't thanking him for that decision when he stepped on a freaking yellow jacket's nest. No, he had to be evac out. It was bad. It was bad. And we were educated on the fact that they're on the ground, so we planned accordingly. Like I said, we couldn't poison the ground. We couldn't burn vegetation because we need the vegetation. The animals need it. We really didn't care about the insects at this point. We weren't aware of just how important to the ecosystem all insects are. And really, even if we had known how important they were, we wouldn't have cared at the time. It was just all out wars. No sides. It was human and bug at this point. And then, of course, there were the fucking bees and the butterflies, which were cool. We were cool with the butterflies. Not so cool with the bees, though. But, we can't kill honeybees. We can't. The sake of humanity depends strongly upon their survival. In fact, in a lot of times, missions that were conducted into territories, we actually were told to protect them while they stung us. It's like, then I realized something. They're only hurting themselves by stinging us if they die, as you all know, when they sting people. So it's just whether a few stings, they'll stop, and we'll be okay. Anyway, right, on foot, getting to the base, this house. See if we can reuse it also as another forward operation base, but to see what supplies were left behind. I told you it was terrifying. Terrifying. Worst shit I've seen in the war. There were bones scattered about, a few soldiers of ours dead, bodies stripped, chunks of meat missing. See, the ants had become aware that by stripping the meat completely from the bodies to the bone, that we would just find bones and just be like, well, it's a skeleton. It's not really that terrifying to see skeletons. But what they started to do was to eat these intricate patterns into the bodies that only ants can do. It was like there's no human way to replicate what they would do to the human body. And it was demoralizing, to say the least, to happen upon these bodies that look like, you know how when you see an ant colony and they like pour
aluminum or whatever the fuck it is they pour in there, and you can see each tube and thing. That's what they were doing to the human bodies. That's exactly it. They were turning them into ant hill things, holes here and there. It was just gross. It was gross and it was disgusting. It was nasty. Now, as I'm approaching this house, you know what I'm saying? As I get closer and closer and closer, I can hear this skittering sound. Skittering sound, which is the sound of little tiny feet, bug feet, across leaves, brush, and ground, twigs and stones and dirt. And it was loud, which meant a lot. And not mosquitoes either, because they don't do a lot of walking. You know, they fly, land. They don't walk much. It was the centipedes and the millipedes and other multi-legged creatures. And they were moving in my direction. I didn't like this. I didn't like this at all. It's like I told you, we can't burn the ground. We can only use the flamethrowers in the air. We were forbidden to burn the ground. You know, it would start brush fires. Fire department wasn't having it. You don't want to flood the land either. You know, it's not good for anybody if you flood it. So water was out of the question. So in a lot of cases, we had to resort to basically stomping the crap out of thousands and thousands and thousands of bugs, which during this heat wave would wear you out rather quickly. So I already knew what they were planning. They knew they would lose thousands of them, and they didn't care. They didn't care. Their chance to overwhelm me came, and they jumped on it without any hesitation. I saw this wave of just all types of bugs. Big ones, small ones. Ones with giant mandibles, little mandibles, proboscises, claws. They were rushing towards me. There was no retreat. Definitely no surrender. I mean, what kind of negotiations are you going to make with an insect? They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to say, hey, you've been killing us. Sure, we'll grant you safe passage to your vehicle so that you can regroup. No, they weren't going to do that for me. And especially me. They heard about the ass gas incident. Now, unbeknownst to them, I had another secret weapon up my sleeve. Before launching this Operation Bloodsucker, we had been in contact with several bird populations in the area. I said, listen, there's going to be a smorgasbord wherever we go. Just follow us around. You'll have bugs to eat until you're so fat you resemble a stuffed turkey. And they were freaking ecstatic about it. So, as this horde, that's all I could describe it as, this horde, millions of insects descended on my location, my position, just outside this house. Our secret weapon swooped in and did its due diligence. Oh, it was picking those bugs off left and right, and they had absolutely no defense against them. None whatsoever. Birds swooping in, just crawling across the ground, walking, just grabbing bugs left and right. They were like, yeah, this is definitely worth it, working with you guys, even though you eat chicken and shit, quail and turkey and duck, goose. You guys eat a lot of us, as a matter of fact. For now, we'll forgive you for that, because you're feeding us all these delicious, tasty bugs in great numbers. Anyway, while the birds were doing their thing, attacking and hitting off these insect hordes on the ground, I made my way forward. Got to the house, Busted down the front door.
Now the problem with homes or any covered, enclosed structure was that spiders would weave these intricate tangled webs, huge webs. You know, they were working together now, so big giant webs and strong as shit. Fucking strong. What they would do, or what they had done in the past to some of our people, was they would trap us in these webs. They'd bite us. We'd be all ow, 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 ow. Fucking spider bites. Shit hurts. Damn it. Some were fatal if you were allergic. But it was a setup. See, what would happen is you'd be stuck. Hornets would sting you, wasps would sting you, and then the mosquitoes and ants would finish you off. Fucking terrifying. I saw a few bodies snagged in the webs as I entered. Did my best to avoid it. Now, of course, you can't use a flamethrower. You probably like just burn the webs up. Nah, we need the structure. We need the house. If I set the webs on fire, it's gonna set the whole house on fire. Too easy, right? Of course. Of course, which made matters even worse, is the supplies that I needed to find were in the basement. A known habitat for spiders and centipedes. Turn my light on. Flashed downstairs. Didn't see an immediate threat. I made my way down into the depths of the basement where I came upon equipment that we needed. It was then that my radio started to crackle. It was Rick. He was in trouble. Shh. Sir, listen. Oh, I'm not gonna make it, but I'm gonna have to do something that I know we're not supposed to do, but I have to do it. Why? Rick, why? What the fuck is going on? I don't have time to tell you. Just understand that my sacrifice will save the lives of thousands of human beings. I have to do it. I heard an explosion. I saw smoke. Well, I didn't see the smoke, but after I came out from the basement, I saw the smoke. But at the time, I just heard the explosion. Boom! It's loud. It's extremely loud. I was like, what the hell is that? I'm on the radio. Rick! Rick. Contacted James. James, do you know what's going on? What's happening? No, man, I heard it though. I can see a big fucking plume of smoke on the horizon. Sort of southeast from where we started. Go investigate it. Find out what happened with Rick. He said he couldn't explain, but he had to do what he had to do to save thousands of humans. Wow. While James was heading over to Rick's last known location, which obviously was where the big plume of smoke was coming from, I continued further into the basement. Down the creaky stairs. I went to turn on a light. They had cut the power somehow. Don't know how, but they did. Damn it. I made my way over towards the equipment. I'm saying to myself, it's awfully clean. There's no dust on it. They've been dusting our equipment for us. It was almost like they wanted me to touch it. For what reason, I don't know. Because I didn't touch it. I backed up. Ever so slowly. I heard some skittering behind me. Turn around. Flashlight. I heard some more skittering behind me. I turned back around. Flashlight. What's going on here? So I don't like this. No! Well, apparently the house they had broken into. Some guy, maybe it was his wife, we don't know, never found their bodies. Whole and intact to discover whether or not they were male or female. We just saw bones, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't about to count ribs to see which one was a man and which one was a woman. I, at the point, did not care. You know what I'm saying? I didn't give a fuck. I just wanted to get the fuck out of there. But these people had lots of steroids. And apparently, bugs had been taking these steroids. Now you're probably saying to yourself, well, what the hell is steroids gonna do? They're human hormone, blah blah blah. Well, it did a lot. Made them smarter, larger. Now, of course, the spiders were the ones who discovered the stash of steroids, so they didn't allow the other insects to use them. They kept them to themselves. Large ass spiders, big like house cats, emerged near the equipment. I immediately ran out. I told the birds, hey, get off the ground. Get off the ground and retreat. I'm out of here. There's some freaking house cat sized spiders about to come up out this basement and they'll eat you. The birds weren't listening. They said there's no such thing as a house cat sized spider. The biggest thing I've ever seen is a bird eating a tarantula, and there's none around here. I said, okay, fuck you then. You know, that's your problem. If you get eaten, I warned you. I don't want to hear nothing later. I made my way back to where my truck was, and I heard the chirping chirps of dying birds, and I knew what was happening. I knew exactly what was happening. I radioed in. I said, listen, we need an airstrike. Firebomb. Burn that house to the ground. We can't use it. And the spiders there have found a stash of steroids. We need to stop that area now before they spread these steroid-infused arachnids out of the population that they're in. Right now it's centralized there. Or that's what I thought. We were denied. No, there will be no airstrikes. We will not destroy our structures. It's just not going to happen, guys. You're going to have to figure out another way. Without burning the house down. Alright, fuck you, okay? Listen, we can't do this. We can't do this. Just no way. Got back to my truck, like I said, and after our radio, I contacted James. James, did you find out what happened? He's like, oh my God, you're not gonna believe this shit. I said, what? What? Tell me, come on, stop keeping me in suspense. And don't you dare fucking blow up before you tell me what the hell is going on, like Rick did, because I'm not going for that. I need the info first, then you can blow yourself up. If that's what you plan on doing. If you're not going to blow yourself up, then hey, let's go ahead and discuss what's going on. There are fucking giant spiders. And I mean like that movie Arachnophobia, but not Arachnophobia, Eight-Legged Freaks. Yeah, big like that. Huge. Ginormous. Are they alive? No, I've seen the charred bodies of them. I said, I just ran into a house. I thought it was just at the house. Command is saying we can't fucking bomb these sons of bitches because they don't want us destroying structures. They're eating the birds right now. I had to retreat. It was fucking terrible. What do you think we should do, James? I mean, there's only two of us here. What are we gonna do? We can't let these large spiders get out from this area. If they get out from this area, the tide of the world would be changed for good. I mean, they'll eat us. Literally eat us all. They're big enough to eat us now. It's not just bites. In my mind, I had already made up what I was going to do. I was going to blow that fucking house up. I didn't care if command said I couldn't blow up the house or not. I was going to blow that house up. The whole war depended on what we did here now. If we allowed the spiders to overrun us, the mosquitoes would resurge and they'd overrun us. Then everything we had done up to this point would have been for nothing. For nothing. I mean, they were willing to sacrifice 8 of my guys, actually all of us, to achieve a small goal in comparison to what we're trying to achieve now, which is safety and survival of all human beings. I made another one of my own decisions. So James, if you see or find any of them, scorch the earth, scorch, burn, destroy everything. Tell the animals to get the fuck out. In fact, I don't even think we're gonna have to tell the animals to get the fuck out. And they probably won't be mad. I mean, could you imagine? Could you imagine if you were a frog and you used to eat spiders, and all of a sudden some fucking big ass spider comes up and then eats you or a friend of yours? Like, oh shit, Kermit got ate today. Fuck, wow, spider got him. What? How the fuck did that happen? They're fucking bigger than we are now. Yeah, that's the shock. It's the shock that they would have. So, in a way, we would be helping them. And besides, giant spiders are not going to be good for the ecosystem, right? Like they were telling us, the amphibians, before, the ecosystem, everything has its working place. Well, there's no place in any ecosystem for oversized cat-like spiders. It's just not. No. Mm-mm. Giant webs, giant trapdoors. You're walking down the street. All of a sudden, the sidewalk opens up. Spider jumps out, drags you in, eats you. No, we can't have that. We won't. I won't. We didn't have that. I went back towards the house. I had a few kerosene bottles, some milk, drank plenty. Oh God, my guts were bubbling. They were bubbling. I started to spray the kerosene around the perimeter first. And then I stepped in. It was risky. It was risky. I didn't know if I was going to make it out, but I thought of my kids, family. If I have to die today, at least I know that I'll stop these giant fucking spiders. Therefore, turning the tide of the war in our favor. Right? I lit the ring of fire on fire. It's trapped. At least until the fire burned out. If I could last that long, that was good. But this would stop any of them from escaping the area, which is what I didn't need happening. I started to fart. I couldn't hold it in. Laid the air thick with it. Since it was so hot, it was so humid, it just sat here with the moisture, heavy and wafted. You could see the green mist just in the air, drifting around, low to the ground, about chest level, thick. I mean, I drank a lot of milk, so I had a lot of gas. A lot. Oh, boy, it was bad. It was bad. I feared next would be Mudbutt, but there's nothing I could do about that. I was going to have to shit myself if that came to pass. And I was willing to do that, for the sake of all humans. See the things I was willing to do for a war you had no idea was being waged, and what I was willing to sacrifice for your safety, people. Because I ended up shitting myself. It was terrible. Muddy, disgusting, ran down my leg. Ugh. Which made me angry. I was mad. I was like, see what y'all motherfuckers made me do? You made me fucking shit my fucking pants. It's down my leg, it's in my shoes. Man. Anyway, I continued to move forward, farting, shitty as I was. Gas filling each area. You're wondering, what is farting gonna do? You remember, flame on, boom, explosion, right? Now, think about it. It's thick. It's staying close to the ground. About chest height, like I told you. All I had to do was get enough of this gas in the air. Surround the house. Throw the rest of the kerosene down. Right? Hopefully, it would work. The problem was, if I used any type of incendiary device before I had done what I wanted to do, I would set it off and blow myself up in the process. So I couldn't use flamethrowers against these giant spiders that I could see. And thank God there weren't like hundreds of them. There were about maybe 20 or 30, which is still a lot. Still a lot. But most of them were kind of often small groups, 1 to 2. maybe 3. So I was able to smack some of them with bats, kick them. Thank God they weren't jumping spiders. If that was the case, I would have been in for it. They would jump right on me. Just fall down. Oh, ants and shit would have got me. Right? But, that's not what happened. Now, thank goodness the stench, like I told you before, it disorientated. So they weren't fully aware of what exactly was happening, and they didn't know anything about the stench. There were no survivors from the ass gas attack previous to this one. It's only the second time I used it. Nobody wants to walk around with bubble guts in the trunk. Like I said, mud bug. Fucking shit yourself. It's very embarrassing. It doesn't feel good and you're not happy. Like I wasn't happy at the time. My shoes squishing, squish, squish. Was shit. Nasty. Mad. So mad. Beating the hell out of these fucking spiders. Avoiding some of them dropping from the tree. Ha ha! Squish! I got to the house within 5 feet of it anyway. I let loose one large, flatulent blast. Butt cheeks vibrated. It was so big. I've been holding that one. I knew some of it would seep into the house, which it did. Like I said, you could see it hanging in the air. Green mist and nastiness. Anyway, I knew this was my chance. This was my chance. Sprayed more of the kerosene inside the house. And then I began the task of heading back to the ring, which was already aflame. I had to get back to it. I had to start this from the outside to the inside. Because from the inside to the outside just wouldn't work because, I'm telling the story and the way I'm telling it is the way I want to tell it, and the way I want to tell it is that I had to go back out because it's more fun that way. Shit, if I just live it now, then I knew I would die. But I didn't want to necessarily die if I didn't have to die. So like I said, I made it back through the stink. Spiders trying to get me. Ants. Bugs of all types. Mosquitoes are still like, oh God, it stinks. Oh God, we can't see them. So didn't have to worry about them too much. The hornets didn't want no parts of that gas. It's like they didn't want any part of it in the first place. So they stayed away. I got back to the ring. I saw it was just about ready to not be on fire. But it was still high and hot enough that jumping through it would definitely burn me badly. And if I was going to survive, I didn't want to survive a burn victim. Number one, I'm out in the middle of the fucking woods in the steamy, hot, tropical feeling weather that we were dealing with at the time. So if I did get burned, it would just feel terrible. I probably had massively traumatic scars all over my body and shit, especially my face, that I'd look like Freddy Krueger, be all ugly, and I'd go home, and my kids would be like, what the fuck happened to you? And of course, my wife, no more parts of this, no more parts of it. So, obviously, I had to do what I had to do, which was wait it out. But I could hear them. They had little insect gas masks. I don't know how they made them. Don't care. They had them. And they were coming through the stink. I could hear them coming. It's now or never. As I reserved my thought process to knowing that I was probably not going to make it out of there, I flipped the switch on my flamethrower. Got it ready. Started counting down. Gave myself a minute. 60 seconds. I could start to see this horde approaching. The birds, they had left. They were getting fucking savaged by these big ass spiders and they just bounced. They was like, fuck this shit, we're out. Told them to leave in the first place. They didn't want to listen. And they weren't about to help me anymore because they kind of felt like I let that happen even though I did tell them and they didn't listen. So, birds that knew that I told them were dead. So the ones that left didn't tell the other birds that I had already told them in the first place what was going to happen to them. So they looked at it as us kind of doing what the honeybees did to us, which was lying to them, tricking them. Which then reminded me, shit, there's a fucking beehive behind the house. Can't kill honeybees. Shit. But I did anyway. You know, fuck them. Just this time. It's just one hive. Won't miss them, right? I hope not. At least no one has so far, because I didn't go back to save them. Nope, I didn't save them at all. I flipped the switch on my fucking flamethrower as the flames died down from the ring. I stepped back. One of the spiders ahead of the column of insects coming to destroy me was noticing that, oh shit, he's got flamethrower. His air is thick with gas. He immediately tried to move faster towards me. I flipped the switch to arm, pressed the ignition, and a burst of flame hit that mass of gas and ignited it in a glorious explosion that tossed my ass back about 20 feet. Like Superman in reverse, backwards. Landed on my ass, squish, still shitty, you know, from the mud butt. Not happy about it, but feeling accomplished. Because I had just destroyed that whole area. House exploded. There was a propane tank there. That shit exploded. A huge ball of flame shot into the air. It was about a good 100 yards radius worth of just complete and total burnt out carnage. Husks of insects falling from the trees. Giant spiders writhing and burning legs charred first so they couldn't run. And then they'd just burn to death and explode. But they would boil, you know, their guts and their shells would crack. It's gross. But satisfying at the same time. Gross and satisfying. It's just wonderful. Wonderful. Made it back to my truck. And I was like, I can't sit my shitty ass on the chair. It's gross. What am I gonna do? I got on the radio. Called James. James! No response. James, come in, please! James! It was at that point I heard another explosion, larger than the one that I had just set off. Boom! Huge fireball went to the sky. I knew then James wasn't coming home. He had sacrificed himself for the greater good of humanity. Which left me with no choice but to get in the truck because, you know, now I wasn't going to get the replacement pants that I was going to ask him for. So I had to sit my shitty ass into the chair, drive back, shit down my leg. It just felt nasty. So gross. Ugh. I was mad at myself. But I was happy at the same time because I accomplished the goal that I wanted to achieve, which was destroying these fucking sons of bitches. So I pulled away from Weston, smoldering right where it was. I noticed mosquitoes flying. Did we accomplish our goal? Yes, we did. We did, folks. Across the state, we had made several advances, stomped them out, and then, of course, the weather changed a couple of weeks after. It got cooler. Season changed. And they went into their burrows and hibernated. We had won this war with mosquitoes. But they'll be back. They're always back. They come back every year. In some places, you deal with them all year round. I remember I got a call from some Floridians. They said, hey, why don't you, because we've heard about your prowess in dealing with these insects. Why don't you come down here to Florida? I said, fuck you. Hell no. I'm not dealing with your weather, your rain, your animals, or your insects. That's your shit. You deal with it on your own. I'm moving away from Connecticut. I'm leaving this godforsaken place. I won't fight another war with these insects. In fact, after things cooled down, calmed down, I had to make amends. For the carnage, death that caused animals and insects. Because I did realize after some time of educating myself that they are very integral to our ecosystem, even the mosquitoes. Unfortunately, I had to admit, they do have a place in this world. To kill them all just isn't wise. Just isn't wise. There's other insects that do it for us, just not on a scale in which we'd like them to. So I had to learn to tolerate being bitten. I said, hey, listen, mosquitoes, since we have to leave some type of harmony with one another, if you could please do me a favor and not spread disease to me when you bite me, I'll just swat the ones that attack me and I won't kill all of you. I'm retiring from the military service, mosquito squad. I won't take up arms against you anymore, and I'm leaving the area. Which I did. Moved to a small house. Mountains. Valley. I won't disclose the location because there's certain insects I just don't trust. I just don't trust them. You know, I was killing them left and right. But me and the birds are, we're back on good terms. Got a couple of friends, jays, hang out in my tree. Some carvers, a few hawks, turkey vulture, crows, ravens, and birds that I don't know what they are. Pretty birds, small, grand, not pigeons. Damn bastards. Got away from you and your seagull friends. Anyway, hopefully the peace holds. I don't ever want to have to take up arms again in another war with insects. There's no winners in war of any kind with anything. There's no winners, only losers. The loss of life at the end of the season was staggering, to say the least, especially since we were fighting bugs. It's not like we were fighting with people, so the fact that we were dying was not good at all. The losses were terrible. But we all learned a valuable lesson. One that I learned is drink a whole bunch of milk, middle of nowhere in a truck, no bathrooms in it. You'll shit yourself. And it'll be embarrassing and it'll stink. You'll have to sit for an hour or two while you're driving. Somebody opens the door of the truck. It smells like a fucking bathroom. You're like, what the fuck happened here? But the war happened here. That's what fucking happened here. I want to thank you, all of you, who have listened to the terrible tales of this war with the Skeetas and the bugs. I want to thank you for all your support that you gave us during this war, that you didn't even know you were giving, but you did. Thank you. Next time you see a guy walking around with scars from insect bites, know that he was a veteran. He fought hard for your comfortability and your life, even. Give him a plate of food or some bug repellent. One or the other. But that was the end, folks. It's the end. And I hope to never, ever have to take up arms against insects again. I refuse. I won't do it. I won't die, like, let them kill me or anything like that. But I'm definitely not fighting with them if I don't have to. Just as long as they stay the fuck out of my house. I've made that perfectly clear to them. You come inside my walls and I will destroy you. There's no question. No question at all. Thank you for joining me for OmenG's Stupid Scary Stories. The final part.